you've been on Conan, you've been on the Tonight Show, but would you say that doing the college shows was an important step to getting you there?
It helped. I wouldn't call it pivotal. I could see things having worked out without them. A harder road, but they provided financial stability and influenced my voice a little bit and the jokes I wrote for that first album and for that my first TV set. They were good. Yeah, they were financially huge. I did NACA Nationals shortly after being fired from my day job. I didn't have anything. I was riding on savings, and it was
What was your day job? I really hope I get fired.
finance.
Finance?
Yeah, the goal is to get fired. Everyone talks about quitting their job. You should stay until you get fired. That is always the goal, I feel, of transitioning to full-time.
Yeah.
Is leave as reluctantly as possible.
I've been fired twice in my life, but that was before I stopped drinking and doing drugs. So now I think it's a lot fire.
Yeah, I've been fired a lot too. I was fired within a company once and then moved to another department. But they wanted to keep me around because it was a new company. But they kicked me out of like a curriculum editing position because I was so bad at it. Moved me over to sales. What jobs were you fired from?
A copywriting job. They were copywriting jobs. Yeah. One was at Paperless Post. So I was writing greeting cards. It was kind of like in 500 Days of Summer where they're like, are you okay? Because these greeting cards are getting a little dark. Like I was like going through stuff.
Is there anything darker than people who professionally have to be sentimental?
Seriously. Like literally writing wedding invitations, and I was like drinking these, but with whiskey poured inside. Like really were.
Did they catch you?
No, but they knew something was off because the work was just not where it should be. Instead of being like, we're so happy to welcome you to our daughter's wedding, it was like, what's the point? We're all gonna die alone anyway.
It's a dark world. Yeah, there was we were joking about our favorite like web comics with some friends the other day, and we kind of went down a wormhole of relationship comics that don't have punchlines. They're just sweet. Like it's a comic strip where it's just sweet, sappy moments, and like
what? I don't get it.
It's just people really like these. They're sentimental cartoons. They're just almost like Family Circus without
I hate Family Circus. Oh boy.
So, but even sappier. But like the people behind those, much when you're forced to only show a big bright smile, you have such a darker soul. Like the Ryan Seacrest of the world must have such demons.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they definitely can only come to like belts around 5 people's necks at the same time, or like burning themselves or something like
each weighing down on the other. Yeah.
Just a row of belts. They go into J. Crew and they're like, I'll take it all.
That's got to be a tough job.
I made a joke about coronavirus early on, and someone was like, this was like a Raya date that I was on. I was like, that's not cool. This is a lot of people that are sick. I was like, but this is why we should be making jokes about it, so we can make it palatable. Do you agree with that? Or do you think that, you know, we can't talk about 9/11. We can't talk about, I don't know, anything sensitive. Isn't that the point?
I don't understand people who don't like joking about hard things. I think people, because jokes are a source of pleasure, and I think people feel like they're not allowed to feel any sense of satisfaction while something bad is going on. I made a joke at my dad's funeral, and no one was upset. They would ask me. Got a good laugh, solid joke. But I get jokes that are at the expense of the wrong thing, but there's no topic that should be off limits. You can't. There are people who operate that way. There are people who operate who can't, who have to compartmentalize pain and only experience pain and can't experience it with like tinges of levity at all.
You have to draw those cartoons that you were talking about, the little happy family cartoons. I had an interview with Mattie Schmitt, and I said, what's an example of a great roast joke? And she said, I was roasted by Matthew Broussard, and he said, you have the complexion of a smoker's wallpaper.
I felt so bad about that one. I just heard her on a Zoom call. Everyone's mic'd equally, so I just heard her go, "Aw."
Oh, it was a Zoom roast?
Yeah, it was Zoom. We did it just a few days ago. She was such a good. I felt so bad.
So
I wrote some very mean jokes.
I can just see her being like, "Oh man."
She goes, "Oh, this is why I don't do these anymore."
you know, you lean into like the private school guy thing, you know, like you're like,
Yeah.
I look like I'm good at lacrosse, and I love all that stuff because I
Thank you.
feel, I feel like it's pretty rare.
Less than it used to be, but yeah, you don't find many people from that crowd who have a lot of self-awareness about how much people hate them.
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's so true.
comedy just taught me, like, oh, people look at your face and don't like you very quickly, so find some way to counteract that. So you want someone who makes you feel better about yourself by comparison, typically with comedy, I think.
So you lead by
uh,
self-deprecation.
I've said this before, but anything that would help you on a dating profile will hurt you in stand-up comedy.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, anything that kind of because any trait that would intimidate someone else that puts people on guard. I think comedy is about making people feel better about themselves, feel less alone, feel more comfortable with their flaws, and to lead with what is typically considered strengths will put an audience off. I think that's my calculus for the self-deprecation component of my stand-up.
I like that a lot. Let's talk about Monday Punday. I've been trying to do
Ooh.
some of them, and they're so hard.
The new ones are. The old ones, if you start earlier back, they should be easier. But I've been doing it for so long that all the easy ones are gone. I don't have
I was
any
thinking,
simple ones left.
I was like, when I talk to this guy, it's going to be like a beautiful mind kind of thing. Because I'm like, I mean, if he comes up with these puzzles, he must be like another level.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Uh, I'm more impressed with the people who can solve them than myself for creating them.
Where did that project come from in your brain?
It came from one of my teachers. Ann Schwartz was my speech and debate teacher, and she did this really cool thing that every class she would throw 5 pictures on the board, all drawn by previous students, and with a handful of Jolly Ranchers, throw one at anyone who solved them. So it's kind of a way to warm our minds up. And she'd collected them for many years from students. And when I did it like for fun in college. I would come back and bring her some in college. And then when I started my job, I started drawing them for coworkers and put them on Facebook, and made it into a website. Started doing it every Monday, and then made it into a website.
Wait, when you did your finance job, you drew the fun cartoons? That's interesting, right? It's like try to keep you in the corporate shell, and you're just.
I started at my job I had before finance, but I definitely did them at work when I was working in finance on lunch breaks or whenever no one was in the room. I would try to draw something really quickly. But yeah, I had a lot of motivation for stuff that wasn't work. It took me till I never like studied film. It took me being on set to realize how many people at the tip top of their game with an unhealthy passion for what they do, it takes to make good film.
Totally.
Like makeup, lighting, wardrobe, everyone there cares so much. Like everyone there could be making so much more money than they are doing anything else for the amount of work they do.
Yeah, but it's not about the money, you know? I mean, the
No.
time in my life when I had the most money, which was when I was engaged in my early 20s, I was the most miserable. So
Makes sense. For me, it was immediately before the quarantine, and now I have no money coming in.